Hello, this is Aaron from Lo-Fi and DIY, and I just want to go over something uh, when it comes to viewfinders for these Packfilm cameras. These viewfinders, see on top of that? Okay. The Zeiss Icon style viewfinder is very popular for those who do like Packfilm cameras. They love those Zeiss Icon viewfinders, and here you can see one right there. The reason is, first off, it's engineered quite nicely and it's made of metal. But second, if you look at that there, it only has one view window in the back, whereas the other style viewfinder on these Packfilm cameras has two windows. It has a little round window there and a bigger window. Okay. The way it works is it combines this particular one, the Zeiss Icon type, actually combines the focal window with the actual viewfinder window, or the rangefinder window with the viewfinder window. That makes it a lot easier to frame and shoot. And people in the past have, including myself, have taken these viewfinders off, replaced them, and I have a 195 camera that's a professional camera, Packfilm, and it comes with a similar viewfinder to this, the dual window type. Now, I immediately wanted to have the full-size view. I'm sorry, the Zeiss viewfinder on mine. So I simply just went and got a 250, like a Polaroid 250 Packfilm camera, and took the viewfinder off of it and moved it onto mine. One thing to keep in mind when you're making this change, I know that a lot of people will say that the Zeiss is actually better, but it's not better, it's just different. And you have to keep that in mind. Having a rangefinder and a viewfinder window, that's kind of that can be kind of frustrating when you're working when you're shooting. But keep in mind, this style, the Zeiss style, employs a bunch of carefully aimed mirrors and a bright viewfinder window. The white thing in the middle there, basically which creates your nice viewfinder bright lines on there. There's lots of stuff that goes on inside of this. Okay, whereas the dual window type, like this, okay, actually, if you're looking at it, you're looking straight through the glass. And there's a benefit for that. It sits directly over the lens. Okay, it sits directly over the lens. There is no need for parallax correction other than up and down. And what I mean by that is the further out you go, the more it's in line, the closer, the more it actually has to dive down in order to see in the viewfinder window what the lens is seeing. So basically, it does have parallax correction on both of these, but this one here is an engineering work of art when it comes to parallax correction, because it has to not only correct up and down, it has to correct side to side. I'm not saying they haven't solved that, they have, but the type that has the two windows in the back, the non-Zeiss version, actually, in my experience, does close-up lens and portrait lens corrections better. And it's just basically one or the other. I personally, my 195, I've actually considered going back to the original lens. I just have to find out. The original viewfinder. Just have to find out where I put it, because I do like the original. But anyway, having said all of that, what I'm going to try to do is something I haven't done in a very long time. So hopefully I'm successful at it. I'm going to swap these two out. so you can see how easy it is to do it. Okay, and hopefully I don't run into too many problems because it's live on video. I don't want to mess up. But anyway, here we go. Let's give it a try. Okay, so I'm just setting up the camera here. Okay, the first thing you want to do, okay, is I think I'm going to remove it on this one here. Okay, if you look at this, it's got a little pin, a little spring right there. Be careful not to lose that spring. That's really important. So right here is where the pin goes into it. What I'm going to do is carefully size a screwdriver using the leverage of the flat of the screwdriver to gently ease it out. Now, you can, since one of these is plastic, and depending on the level of corrosion, you can actually accidentally chip or damage this. It's very possible. But it's also still very feasible to take this out. Now, once I've encouraged it to come out a little bit, of course, what I could do, and this is hindsight, instead of scuffing the plastic, put the metal behind the plastic of one screwdriver, and then take another one, put it right there, and we'll go ahead and twist that way. Okay, I can see it's feeding out a little bit. Okay. So I'm slowly getting that pin out of there. Let's see. I can use a wider screwdriver each time. There we go. Okay. And so again, if you can see, I'm slowly easing that pin out. That pin is coming out. Okay. And as I get the pin further out, I can actually also ease it out on another level down here. And you will see this when you're actually doing it yourself. Okay, so now I've eased it out quite a ways. Oh, and blooper number one, but I'm going to keep it in the video. That little spring went flying because I didn't put my finger in front of it. Okay, that little spring went flying. So now I've got that out of the way. I can gently lift this off. And now let's take a look at this a little bit. Here, if I can get it to focus. There we go. I want you to see that's the pin that I was easing out, and that's the hinge point right there. It has a spring that goes right on there, and that spring is something that you want to hold on to. You don't want to let it go shooting across the room. Luckily, in my case, I can easily get that that spring where it landed, but yeah, you don't want it to go flying into a carpet or something. Okay, so now we've got that one off. By the way, what I'm doing here is I'm taking from a 250 and putting it on a 240. Okay, putting the Zeiss on a 240. So let's go ahead and get the Zeiss viewfinder off. This 250, which is going to sacrifice its life for the greater good of this video, actually has a bad bellows, so I had to do some work on it anyway. But I don't know. Okay, so here we are again. And you see, once again, there's those springs. And let's try something. Because I'm not so bright, I'm going to take a piece of tape and put it over my spring so that I don't make that mistake again. I don't send this one flying because I do have to have at least one spring in this case. Okay, again, we're going to take this one off. Okay. By the way, this is the way I do it with the springs, but I'm sorry, with the this is the way I do it with the screwdriver. But if you actually have a better way, if you can use a needle nose pliers and a set of needle nose pliers and it works great for you, then that's fine. Do what works for you. And based on what you saw, you do not have to take the whole thing out all the way. So I'm just going to see if that's enough. That's not. A little bit more here. And again, keep track of that spring. I'm just giving it a little twist here. Let's see. Still not there. Okay. This spring is about ready to be sprung, so I gotta be careful now. Okay, I caught it. See that tiny little spring right there. I'll set that aside, lift this out. Okay, now I have the Zeiss viewfinder off of this one, and I'm going to put it on the 240. Get that tape out of the way for a second. I will put the spring back on here. And then when I'm putting this back in here, like anything, the last part could be really tricky or easy, kind of hard to say. In this case, it went on there really nice and easy. Okay, now though, I have to manage to put that back in. Okay, so in this case though, I've got to be careful. There's the actual rangefinder adjuster right there. I do not want to pry against that. So going by my memory, which has faded over time, I think what I was doing before is just simply grabbing that pin and grabbing right at the end of